Hi, this is Greg at Best Choice Trailers. Today I'm going to take you for a walk around the 6x12, 9,900 pound GVW short track telescopic cylinder. This particular unit is part of the standard duty short track model, however it's got a commercial grade hoist. We're going to take a walk around this trailer and show you some of its standard features. As shown on this, the only optional feature would be the upgraded hoist on this trailer. We put this hoist on for higher duty cycle customers that just need a hoist that's capable of everyday use and can pretty much lift any load, no matter if it's a little bit tongue heavy or whatnot. This one I believe you'll find is up to the task. Let's take a walk around it and show you those features. So up front we've got a 7K drop leg jack. It's got a grease zerd on it for serviceability, extra life. You also notice it's a bolt-on jack. If you ever needed to replace it, makes it very simple to replace. It's also got a plug holder for your sealed 7-way wire harness. If you've never used a drop leg jack, they're pretty simple to use. You'd simply pull the pin out, inner leg's gonna come down to the ground. That extra extension is gonna be what saves you from having to carry around a wood block and whatnot. The outer sleeve's gonna adjust via the top line handle. That gives you your final adjustment. A lot of adjustment in the jack here. Again, no need to ever carry around your wood blocks and whatnot. Notice this trailer's got a 5-inch tube tongue. It's not a channel tongue. Tube's gonna resist that torsional load a little bit better than channel would. Similar weights. Same thing with the frame, 5-inch tube on the frame. And you'll notice short track on these also does a separate bed frame. So the way some manufacturers will do it, a slightly cheaper way of doing it would be to take the sidewall down past the floor and form the bed in, and the cross members would actually be held in place by the bed by the dump bed. On this, it's got a separate bed frame. All the cross members are going to weld into that. And then your body sits on top of that. It's a stronger design, a little bit extra steel. You also see on short track they take the time to silicone on all your joints on the trailer. Those would be your traditional rust areas or your first areas that want to rust. They give those a little bit of extra protection. So on the telescopic hoist setup, you're going to get a flat front bulkhead, whereas on the scissor and single ram, it would be an angled out bulkhead. That's done because, as you can see here, the telescopic cylinder needs the clearance. Okay, on this one there is a safety chain. On the power up, power down single ram, it would be hydraulically locked in place. On this unit, it's going to be a gravity down. The safety chain would give you an extra sense of security whenever you're loading a piece of equipment or something like that and putting a lot of weight on the back end. Sides on these are going to be about 20-inch. And then you've also got the optional, well, I shouldn't say the optional, but they're optional to use, 1-foot sidewall extenders. That can take your sides up to about 32 inches. Also notice you've got stake pockets going down the sides if you wanted to build the sides higher. They also give you tie down points. So if you were to put a tarp kit on here, it'd give you spots that you can tie from the grommet down to the body of the trailer. Also notice up front, it's already tarp kit ready. So tarp kit wouldn't come with the trailer standard, but by having it tarp ready, it makes it where you can put a professional series tarp kit on it after the fact instead of scabbing together something homeowner grade. 5 D-rings, standard in the trailer, in the 4 corners, and then you got one front and center. Also notice some of the little details short track puts into their trailers. They do all full seam welds. There's no stitch and spot welds on the trailer here. Spare tire mount is standard equipment. Some of those other additional little details, again, they have 4 bead of weld on the outside, then they also weld them on the inside as well. So if you're one of those guys, somebody gets a little careless around your spare tire, you got a lot of bead of weld holding that spare tire mount on. One of the improvements recently that they did, they went to a punch plate side step. Just gives you nice traction if you're getting in and out of the bed at all or trying to reach in to strap something down. Again, more of the details I was talking about earlier. They silicone coming back, the bed frame, also around the fender areas. Even though they put a pretty exceptional powder coat on their trailers, they also silicone out those joints as well. On these, they got 5,200 pound axles, brakes on both axles. It's going to come equipped with a 225/75 R15. That's a load range D 8-ply tire. Again, brakes on both axles. Now these are never adjusting brakes or forward adjusting brakes to where they wouldn't need adjusted theoretically through the life of the brake pad. It should adjust the whole way through just like a car pad. As I was pointing, this is an Easy Lube hub. So behind that black cap, you can peel it out with your finger on a warm day, or a day like today, you might need a flat-bladed screwdriver. You peel that off, and a homeowner with average hand tools and a grease gun can service their own bearings on a unit like this. Also notice they do a double broke diamond plate fender standard. So a few in the industry still use the automotive, or not the automotive, but the car hauler style radius fenders. This has the heavier duty tread plate fenders, and then you also notice that it's the double broke fender. That extra brake on there gives you some extra strength versus the single broke fenders you sometimes see. Okay, moving back to trailer. Standard equipment on the 10K dumps is going to be a combination spreader gate. Most folks are going to use the barn door where you'd swing the gate around. This one also on the far side has a release. You can set the gauge, the depth gauge, and you can spread material just like a dump truck on this one. Show you some more little details they do. Double pass weld on your critical hinge point area. They also take the time to cap the end of the box tube, prevent that from crushing under an extreme load. They also put grease zerks on your pivot point of the frame. Here's a picture of this integrated keyway going down the side. Notice that is a form piece of steel. That's not a flat wall with a spot welded piece of steel on. I've seen some of those. What tends to happen, water gets behind it, and then they end up rusting out over time. This one here is formed in. It's a little bit better design, a little bit more labor to do it this way, but it's a little cleaner finish at the end. That's the integrated body stiffener. Come back to the back. One nice part about the bulkhead is it puts your LED lights up where folks behind you can see them a little bit better. Also notice the grease zerks on the back door. This has standard undermount ramps. Very simple setup back here. Simply rotate that pin 180 degrees. This one's making me look silly. I'm sorry. This one here is not 180. That one's 90. You simply loosen that and pull your ramp straight out the back. The utility trailers are 180 degrees. Same thing on the other side. This does come in a 10 and a 12 foot. Anytime we would do an upgraded hoist like this, generally it'd be on a 12 footer. You can get it as well on the 6x10 model. So I'm gonna put this hoist up for you. Now this telescopic hoist is a very efficient hoist. This is a 3-stage. The thought process behind a 3-stage hoist would be, in that initial stage that we're in right now, you need the thickest part of the cylinder, the most girth at the beginning stage. Now we just hit second stage. It's going to pick up speed a little bit because you got less fluid in that thinner stage 2. Now this is a 108-inch cylinder, which is actually the same cylinder that's going to go on a 12 and a 14-foot cylinder. And there was the final stage, stage 3. So what I'm referring to, this is a 108-inch cylinder. This is the same cylinder that's going to go on a 14-foot dump. You're going to get a little bit of extra stroke on a 12-foot, a little bit more angle than what you need, but of course, a little bit extra angle never hurt anybody. So there's a good shot. This isn't completely level, but even still, you got some ground clearance at the back. Telescopic is very efficient. Reasons why it is by far and away the most efficient hoist. First of all, it mounts at the front and it's already mounted vertical. Most of your scissor and single ram dumps, which are also available from Trac and actually are most common because of price point, they're laying horizontal trying to go vertical, so you waste a ton of energy redirecting force. For the same reason a dump truck would use a telescopic. When you get much larger scale and size, you need as much efficiency as you can. So again, this is pointed vertical trying to go vertical. Secondly, it's a stage cylinder. A single ram or a scissor hoist doesn't have the 3 stages, so it never has a chance to reset the PSIs and become more efficient like the telescopic would. Third thing, with this being a gravity down, it's going to be a little bit more efficient. Gravity down doesn't use power on the way down. Doesn't save a ton of battery, but it does save some. The last thing on this would be, look how far forward the telescopic is versus the single ram is going to mount at the midpoint of the fender, and the scissor hoist is going to mount at the front side of the fender. So on this, you've got a lot more leverage whenever you're trying to get that load. That, and the hardest part of getting a load moving is getting it started, and that's where these telescopic hoists excel. So we're starting to see an uptick in the amount of telescopic hoists. They are a little bit more money, but not a significant amount, especially not for any sort of commercial user. My name's Greg at Best Choice Trailers. If you have any questions on this, give us a ring at 717-220-4220, or visit us on the web at bestchoicetrailers.com.